Todd. I'm Todd. I'm Todd. No. No.
Welcome everyone, I'm Heath.
And I'm Jay.
And you're listening to Host of Horror, show where we discuss and review horror films based off predetermined themes of the month. And Jay!
Yes!
Do you know what holiday it is?
It's Thanksgiving, Woo!
It's the greatest holiday ever.
You get to eat lots of food.
Yeah, and celebrate taking people's land.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. We'll just celebrate the food part.
Yeah, well, yeah, lots of food, and lots of food, and what looks like to be a lot of kills this season.
Yeah, it's like quite a bit in this one, a lot more than Halloween.
There was a lot of killing. There was a lot of gore. There was just a lot going on.
What's not a lot going on is there are not a lot of like Thanksgiving themed horror movies out there.
There are very, very few.
However, there is one that we recently checked out, and it's now like it's a must watch for Thanksgiving for me, at least. Like every November I have to watch this movie.
Dear God, this movie feels like a cult classic without it being a cult classic, because literally no one's heard of it.
I've never heard of this movie until we decided to watch something for Thanksgiving, and we were like, yeah, we're gonna make it's got to be Thanksgiving themed horror movies based around Thanksgiving. And out of the few that we found, this is probably the best one.
This is the one.
It's so good.
Ooh. Ooh. All right. What's the name of the film?
Name of the film is when did it come out? 87?
1987.
Blood Rage.
Wait, I thought it's called Slasher.
It's called Slasher. It's called Complex. It's called Blood Rage. I think there's like one more.
Is the Nightmares at Shadow Woods?
Yeah.
There's multiple names, but we are gonna call it Blood Rage.
Blood Rage. It's really good.
Oh my God. So Blood Rage is a 1987 film by, I forgot who the director is already.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't have that up. You were supposed to have that up.
I had it up and it just went out my head immediately.
Good job.
Thank you. Oh my God. I'm doing so well.
Blood Rage.
2. All right, got it. So, this movie is a 1987 film by John Grisham, who's also made classics such as The Bride, Scalpel, and that's about it. Not much.
Wait, The Bride, was that movie that was playing on TV?
I don't
know. That sounds like it, because she was in a wedding dress. If so, that's pretty good plugging right there.
Honestly, it's a lot of plugging. Yeah, no, he wrote it. John Grisham wrote it, and looks like Jean-Marie Pellicy, some French name, directed it. So it was definitely a collaborative effort. But that, Scalpel, and Blood Rage are John Grisham's movies.
Well, this one was good. I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
Yeah, no, I was not expecting much out of this one, so I am thoroughly surprised.
Yeah,
with how much was going on. Like, if we go and get on with the plot was wild. So, spoiler alerts from here on out. So, if you want to watch with us, feel free. Otherwise, spoiler alert. So, basically, it's about these twin brothers, right? These twin brothers, one of them's a killer, and the other one gets framed for said killing and gets institutionalized for over 10 years.
And, like, the dumbest way possible, too. Like, the two of them sneak out of their mom's vehicle while they're at a drive-thru. Like, one finds a hatchet, stumbles upon these two people having sex, and, like, hacks this dude's face in.
Unprovoked.
And then turns around with people standing there, hands his brother the hatchet, puts a little bit of blood on his face, and is like, I can't believe you killed people. And the innocent one goes to an institute for, what was it, like 10 years?
For 10 years. And I feel bad for this dude the whole time, because it's like, first of all, your twin brother, who's a piece of shit, is living a normal life while you're in a fucking mental institution for something you did not do for over 10 years. Like, I think later on, after talking about the scenes with the mom and, what's the name? Terry and Todd.
Terry and Todd. Todd's the innocent one. Terry's the dick.
Terry's the killer. So basically, it cuts to the psychiatrist, Dr. Berman, which, funnily enough, according to IMDb, is played by one of the producers.
Oh, because one of the actors didn't show up?
Yeah, because the actors did not show up. So she was all like, well, I guess I'm going to shoot it then. So this person is Marianne Cantor. And according to her IMDb page, she was hot. Very, very hot.
In the movie, she was kind of cute.
But, you know, that's not really all about it. But, like, she was pretty hot. So basically, Thanksgiving night comes around, and basically we all found out that, like, Todd is, after 10 years, Todd is on to finally start to speak, because apparently it left him catatonic to where he basically becomes mute.
Yeah.
And, like, lifeless for over 10 years, because that's a lot of trauma.
Yeah, and he's bringing up repressed memories, and he's telling the doctor that he's actually innocent, and Terry was the one that did the killing. And the doctor is actually starting to believe Todd. Well, the mom gets this news, and the mom's having none of it, and it was like, I'm not gonna have you experimenting with my boy anymore. We're done here. So the mom's like, okay, I'm fine with you poking and prodding with my kid until he starts blaming the other one, and then it's not cool. So obviously, right off the bat, there's some favoritism there.
Oh, no, there's a lot of favoritism, and it's literally based off the fact that first scene in the beginning where Terry basically blamed Todd, even when there's blood on his hands.
And Todd's just got like a little smear on his face.
Smear on his hand, like a smear of blood from Terry, and just like have put in the hatchet in his hands. Well, not the hatchet, the fucking.
It was a hatchet. The first kill was with a hatchet.
I thought it was with like a little axe.
A hatchet, yeah.
Shit, yeah. So yeah, it makes it even worse because it's literally another hatchet. So yeah, it was a lot of bullshit going on from the get go. Plus, like, going all throughout the day, basically it's a whole wild goose chase, because later on it gets revealed, like during the dinner, that like Todd Lee has left. He escapes the school, as the mom
puts it, yeah. And so Terry, who is already on edge because of the announcement that his mom is marrying her longtime boyfriend, Brad King. Brad King, owner of the complex, they're finally getting married, and like right off the bat, he gets this like look in his eyes, like, bitch, you gonna marry my mom? Because he kind of it's not like state it like bluntly, but you could kind of tell like the mom and Terry have like a weird little thing going on.
I don't want to go that far to think there's like some Oedipus ass shit going on, but it kind of feels like, because of, you could probably say, guilt on the mom's part, it's formed kind of a codependent kind of thing, where she feels very, very codependent on Terry, and Terry's used to that for the longest time.
I don't know, the whole give mommy a kiss thing, and like at the end saying, we don't need anyone, it's just us, all I need is you.
See, it comes off as very weird, very cringe, and I agree, it is very cringe, but I do feel like it's coming from more of like, there's a lot of guilt going on. That's why I feel like she reacted in a hysterical way to Dr. Berman, revealing that, like, oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that, she's starting to believe that, that Todd is the innocent one the whole time. And she's like, I'm having none of this, because of the fact that, like, she's probably still facing a lot of guilt from it. And honestly, she needs therapy just as much as everyone else there. But I just really feel like there's a lot of guilt and a lot of different emotions going on with her, which is causing all of this to come up. And I feel like that signifier, like the announcement of the marriage, it puts a lot of people off. It put Terry off, which I feel like that was the trigger for him starting to kill again, was that someone is taking the place of him.
Yeah, because he wants to boink his mom.
I don't think he wants to fuck the mom because I don't think he barely wanted to fuck his own girlfriend. So like,
oh yeah, that's another thing.
So like, how you gonna tell me that like he was trying to fuck the mom when he wasn't trying to even boink his own girl, like
his own girl or the other one that was hardcore coming on to him.
Yeah,
there's a lot of there's a lot of moments in this film where like the females in this movie are obviously horny and like the dudes are either really nervous and goofy or no, I don't have time for that. We're watching TV or playing video games.
It's honestly wild because most horror movies, most movies of the time anyway, men are depicted as the ones who are initiators, who the horny ones all the time. And what's her name? Was it Julie? Not Julie. What is that girl's name? Andrea, I think.
You got Andrea, who was the babysitter.
I think Andrea was the one that's like, I miss the days where boys were horny all the time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like,
the bad days back when boys were horny all the time. And they don't even listen. They're just like, we're playing video games.
So, before we get back to... No, I'll talk about that later. Let's get back to the plot for now.
Okay.
So, where were we at?
We established that Todd is on the loose and that with the mom's announcement of getting married kind of triggers something in Terry. And the doctors show up and they're there to explain they're there to not capture but to find Todd. And
they're gonna capture Todd.
Well, no, they brought the tranquilizer gun, but I think the doctor is hardcore on Todd's side.
Oh, yeah.
And Terry, who his first kill is Brad King. So that's why I think the whole marriage thing that's what pushed him over the edge. Because he's like, okay, not only has my brother escaped where I can blame this on him, but you, dude, you're not boinking my mom. That's my mom to boink.
And oh God. And I feel like on top of that, he walked in on them making out. So I feel like that would acted as an additional trigger.
Yeah.
For him to start going into a whole blood rage. Into
roll credits.
Into basically his like blood curdling, triggering into him being a psychotic killer.
Yeah.
It also goes to show kind of with like, of course, unchecked mental illness equals killer, but it's also kind of like how mental illness can affect a whole bunch of other people around you, because your mental illness kind of fucked your own brother over. Now your own brother is now suffering from mental illness because of you, and it's just like it's a whole bunch of it. Everybody needs therapy.
Especially
therapy
the
for
mom.
everybody.
That's one thing in this movie is like
the whole damn family.
Dude, I keep going back and forth on the mom the entire movie. Like at first I'm on her side, and then I'm like, oh fuck you, be nice to Todd, and then I'm like, and then I feel so bad for her in the middle of the movie. It's wishy-washy with her. It's weird.
It is very wishy-washy with a lot of the characters too. Well, especially with the mom. But basically it goes into a whole bunch of different kills, a whole bunch of like this movie. It feels like it's very campy, like very much like a 1980s like slasher film. Like they were just like going at it, like they didn't care about like the setup. They just said we're just gonna kill people, and they just went with it.
They actually had very good setup. Like
it was extremely good.
It was a good setup, and like it's a loose plot that is mainly focused on the kills and the setup that they had in the beginning. The plot's so thin. Like there's not a whole lot of plot in this movie, but what they have is good. It's like you said, it's campy fun.
Yeah, I don't even think they really needed a plot. They just needed like a premise, and they're like, all right guys, everybody have fun with it. Like that, you can tell. I feel like they had a lot of fun with this movie, even though like there was like a little bit of a plot to begin with, but everything else kind of like went on, like just the kills, the like the amount of like sexy, just all around, just a whole bunch of crazy shit happening.
Yeah, and so you have all these kills going on, a bunch of other things like Terry kills a few people, goes and hangs out with the babysitter just to set up his next victims, is essentially how it goes from there on. There is a quick setup where Karen meets Todd and thinks it's Terry at first. And they have a little back and forth, and then she figures out that it's Todd, is freaked out, and leaves.
I want you to make love to me. Wait, I'm not Terry.
Oh,
Bye. I've never kissed a girl before. You should try that sometime. Bye. Okay, bye. And that sets up basically the second half of the movie,
where Todd's essentially like being all like he doesn't break in. He gets into his apartment and has a conversation with the mom, who is drunk at this point because she's having a whole little episode.
Let's talk about that. So meanwhile, like, all this killing is happening. The mom is basically having a psychotic breakdown. Like, she said earlier in the film that she said, I'm just going to straighten things up, which obviously means that's her coping mechanism whenever things go up shit creek, is that she cleans.
Yeah, and Brad King told her to, if there's anything she needs, to just stay home and give him a call. Mm-hmm. And of course, Brad King's the first one who dies, so the whole time she's trying to call him, he's not answering.
And so, like, she's out here drinking wine, like eating a whole bunch of leftovers on the floor from the fridge. And this is a great performance from her. Like,
yeah, she does so good. There's a point where she honestly looks like Willem Dafoe.
Oh my God.
No, there is a moment, I shit you not. It's after she took a shower and her hair is kind of slicked back. Then I'm like, oh, Jesus, that's Willem Dafoe.
You go, Louise You go, because like she did that film. Like
she did a good job. This movie has a lot of bad acting and good acting.
There's a lot of charm.
A lot of, like, I think like Karen was so bad in this movie, but I think the guy that played both Terry and Todd did a very good job of portraying the two as different. The mom, Maddie, who was, you said, Louise Lasseter, she did a very good job. And then, of course, you had all the in-betweeners that were just, eh.
They were there. So, basically, we forgot to mention about the assistant. And so,
well, they're
there.
We'll get there when we talk about the kills.
Well, yeah. So, moving along with the plot, which is, there's a lot. There's a lot going on, but the plot is so thin that it's like, the kills kind of like are the plot.
Yeah, like, yeah.
It feels like that.
So, but back to what we were talking about with so Todd breaks into the apartment and sees his mom, who's drunk at this point, and they have not a sweet moment. Like, he gets his mom to bed, and the mom's like, "Hey, Terry," and of course it's Todd, not Terry, and he's like, "Yeah, Mom. Did they find your brother? No, not yet. Man, I really wish he would just go away. Like, I wish he would just run away, like, go far, far away where we wouldn't have to deal with him." And this is Todd standing right there, hearing his own mother say this. And then she's like, "At least I have you. Come give mommy a kiss, Terry." And it's just so heartbreaking.
Talk about a gut punch.
Oh,
that was a punch to the gut right there.
Another gut punch for Todd was when he walked on, like you were saying with the doctor. We kind of skipped over that, which we'll get to that kill, but there's a moment where he finds the doctor who had been cleaved in half by Terry. And keep in mind, Todd is not mentally sound. He's been locked away for 10 years, so he's still kind of this 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid in heart. And he like grabs one half of his doctor and tries to put her back together before he's like, he kind of breaks down a little bit and says, "I know you were the only one who believed me. Why didn't you do anything before this happened?" Kind of like he feels so bad. And in return, I felt bad. I'm like, oh, poor buddy.
No, like Todd, Mark Soper's performance as Todd was just, that was fantastic. Like,
he made Todd so sympathetic, it made me hate Terry even more.
Who also was played by Mark Soper. Like, he walked. He walked so Lindsay Lohan can run.
Right?
In the Parent Trap. Like, let's be real. It is hard. it is difficult to be playing two characters at the same time. And he did that shit phenomenally.
He did such a good
understood
job.
the assignment. He passed the assignment with flying colors. He did that shit. Ooh, that was a good performance.
So finally, one more thing before we get to the final end. Todd, after having that moment with his doctor, meets a little girl who's outside of the complex looking for a kitty cat. And he comes up to this little girl and he's like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just looking for my kitty cat. Have you seen it? No, I haven't seen a cat, but, you know, they're really good at finding their way home. Speaking of home, you need to get the fuck out of here. Like, do not be outside. Go home, lock yourself in there, and don't open it for anyone. Do you understand me? And the little girl's like, okay, and leaves. And later on, Karen is running away from the killer, begging for people to open the door, and no one answers until she gets to this one apartment, and it's the little girl. The little girl's like, nope, sorry, I can't let you in. Guy told me not to let anybody in.
That is one example of... Okay, this movie is a great example of setting up things for, like, little payoffs later. Like, that was a perfect, like, setup for that payoff. It was like, dang.
It was good.
It was good.
It was funny. It made me laugh so hard.
All right, what else? So, basically, we get down to the wire. Almost half the characters are dead now. Like, almost, like, 80% of the characters in this whole film are dead now.
Pretty much everyone that was set up is dead, and Karen is finally revealed that Terry's the killer.
And he was all like, "Oh my God, Terry, what are you doing?" And he swings his fucking hatchet. He gets ready as if he was about to swing a bat. He's like, "Karen, I love you." Bam. And she's all like, man, all I wanted to do is get some dick.
You gonna pull some shit like this?
Like, all I really wanted was to get some dick, and this is how you repay me, with trying to kill me.
No, I love that, though. He's like, Karen pulls the machete back, swings at her. I love you at the same time. She runs away, and he's like, Karen, didn't you hear me? I said I loved you.
And I'm like, this man is so fucking unhinged that I just feel like he thought this was all a fucking game. Like, that's what it felt like.
So I said earlier that I hate it. Like, the way the actor played Todd made me hate Terry even more. But at the same time, he did a damn good job making Terry fun. Like, he was a sadistic killer, but God, was he a blast to watch.
Oh, he was very fun and to watch, but it's also like, yo, why are you acting like this? There are so many different little setups that they had for Terry. Like, what his trigger is, what the things that he doesn't like, the things that he doesn't do. Because if you can tell, he does not drink.
He does not drink. He'll get high, but he doesn't drink.
He had a blunt. He had a blunt before he made one of his kills.
Well, even Karen goes, because she's talking to Todd, and she's like, "Are you high, Terry? You're always quiet when you're high."
And then like, oh, he doesn't drink. So I'm like, okay, he's out here drinking milk, and I know what milk means in horror settings. Not good.
Yeah.
He drinks milk while everyone else drinks wine.
Ever since I watched The Clockwork Orange, I've never trusted milk.
Ever since I've seen Get Out, I've never trusted milk. So I'm just like, already something's weird. And then like, God, he had this whole like almost like frat boy persona down packed. And then like, it does not leave. Like, everything is like, he plays everything so straight. Terry plays everything so straight, and he's played it straight up until the end, where he gets confronted by not only Karen and the baby, who just happens to be the daughter or the baby of one of the people that get killed, but
yeah, it's kind of weird that they threw that baby in there. Just kind of came out of nowhere.
I don't say it came out of nowhere because it was already set up, though.
I know it was already set up, but why? Why have a baby? Baby did not need to be in the final chase.
what else was gonna happen? Like, there was no other place where that baby was gonna go. So I'm kind of like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I can see exactly where they're going with this, because the baby, there was no other place for her to go, for the baby to go, and I'm like, you put her in the. I'm sorry, but it's also the fact that Karen put the baby in the freaking
Cabinet.
under the cabinet, under the sink, and I'm like, now, out of all the places could have put him, granted, they tried to go into the sauna, and that's where they found, who was it? There was
It was Andrea and Greg.
Yeah, they found them dead and all of that.
So Terry, after Karen finds out it's Terry, she like runs all over the apartment complex. That's where the little girl happens. She stumbles upon where the babysitter was and finds the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry finally like chases him down at the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the final confrontation. So Karen hides the baby under the sink, runs out. Terry is chasing after him, and there's Todd. And Todd's like, I'm gonna shoot you. And Terry goes, you're not gonna shoot me. And Todd's like, yeah, you're right, I'm not gonna shoot you.
And then Karen's like, I'm gonna shoot your ass, I'm gonna kill you. And then it's like, oh, it's the tranquilizer
empty.
Gun.
No, it wasn't. It was actual gun.
I thought that was the tranquilizer gun.
No, the tranquilizer gun was the black one. This was the revolver that the doctor had.
But I could. What?
Yeah.
So I thought the tranquilizer gun
No.
was. No, I could have sworn the tranquilizer gun was, because it was in the doctor's hands. And
yes,
Todd got it.
Yes,
but Todd was the one who tried to do it. But it
was,
shows that he was shot with the tranquilizer gun.
No,
it showed that.
No, because the tranquilizer gun was the black one. Was the black one with the long barrel. He was shot by a revolver, or almost shot by a revolver if it would have been loaded. Because Karen was holding a revolver. And it even shows when Todd is with the doctor that there was a revolver that spilled out of her purse, and he grabbed that. Grabbed a revolver, not the tranquilizer.
Oh.
Again, there's many mistakes in this movie, so it could have just been that.
Probably. Probably.
They probably just switched the guns mid shooting this.
Gun safety is very important, y'all.
So anyway, she goes to shoot Terry, and it's not loaded. So Terry and Todd have like a little fisticuff fight in the pool. And they get out, and then the mom shows up, who has Brad King's gun.
But, okay, let's run that back a little bit. Prior to this, after the breakdown, after the mom has like basically been on the phone with the operator trying to call him the whole time, she finally decides to leave the apartment to go. And this was after she found a bloody shirt, the same bloody shirt that Terry had on earlier.
Correct.
And
making me believe that, okay, she finally came to her senses and realized that Terry's the killer. So I'm like, okay, I'm back on her side.
Like, she's all like, she sees the dead body and all of that. And while this really Christian-ass radio show is going on, like, basically depicting what's going on in front of us, she's like, I'm going to make this all right.
So I'm sitting here watching this going, okay, did not like her at first, then I felt bad for her, and now I'm rooting for her. Yes, go get the right one.
Mm-hmm,
and she shows up, and Terry's on the other side, and Todd and Karen are on the other side, and she holds that gun up to Terry, and Terry's like, Mom? Shoots him. And then he says Mom again, and she shoots him in the face.
In the eye.
And he falls down, and she shoots him a couple more times, leaving one in the chamber. And she then goes over to comfort Todd. And she's like, it's okay, baby. I'm so sorry. I've done you so wrong, and I apologize for that. No one's going to take you away from me. I love you. It's just going to be the two of us. I love you so much, Terry.
And then then Todd was like,
I'm not Terry.
I'm Todd.
And he just says, I'm Todd over and over again. And then the mom's like, oh my God, what have I done?
No, I killed the son that I wanted.
Yeah, I killed the son that I loved. Oh my God, I can't believe this. And then kills herself.
With the...
And that's the end of the movie. Like, no, she kills herself. Todd looks back in horror, and then the movie kind of like freeze frames.
And Karen just like goes back, grabs the baby, and leaves as you can hear the police sirens in the back. And I'm just trying to figure out like who actually finally called the police after they've been said like 3 times at least.
Karen did.
So she actually called.
Yeah, remember before she got the baby, she called the police, and then Terry's right there, and she hits him in the dick with the phone.
You're right. So, yeah, no, literally by the time, well, that just gave me a slightly more optimistic ending, because like the way that it made it seem that like she's like dipped out, and like the only person who's gonna be there is Todd, basically gonna have to explain all of this shit. And so now it's like, damn, not only that, like, I got framed, now I'm gonna get framed for trying to kill all these people. Child, you just left feeling very horrible and very bad for Todd after this. If you're feeling bad before, you'll feel bad by the end. Yeah, like for real.
And then the mom, I had such a just wishy-washy relationship with her. Like the whole time I'm sitting there going, oh, well, you're a bad mom. I don't like you. And then it goes from that to like pure sympathy where you just feel bad for this poor woman. And then you're rooting for her. You're like, yes, go make things right. And then she says some dumb shit. And I'm like, you bitch, you just broke Todd's heart more than you already did. I hate you. But then she shoots herself and you're like, okay, I hated you, but I didn't want you to go that far.
Yeah, no. It was just a lot going on. Like, let's talk about all the stuff that was going on between the plots.
Yes,
so, like,
the kills. My favorite part of this movie. The kills were so good in this movie. There's 11 deaths and all of them are beautifully well done.
All right, let them talk about the kills for a little bit. I'm gonna talk about other things because okay. Let me just put it out here. The music
is really good.
The music is extremely good. Very fucking 80s. 80s as fuck. The most 1980s thing you ever hear, but it plays extremely well. The use of leitmotif is beautiful, especially when you have Terry and Todd, and just all of the different musical tropes that comes with horror movies, slasher films. They are all executed extremely well. One particular scene is when you hear the piano start to like boom, 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 whenever Andrea is in the shower, and like Terry is literally like hiding in the bathroom, and like you can hear him in there, and then like nothing's happening, but like he goes back and all the music stops. I loved it. I loved it so much.
I like the one where like Artie found all the weapons, and it's the whole "that's not cranberry sauce" Artie scene. But like the piano music plays really softly, and as it builds up to the kill for Artie, it gets louder and louder and louder and louder, and it's so good.
Is that before or after you see the crew member in the back?
There's so many mistakes in this movie. One of my favorite though is in that. What I would call iconic. I love that line. That's not cranberry sauce, Artie. That is not cranberry sauce. And as he's saying this, right before he kills Artie with the fork, the cooking fork, I had to rewind it so I could show Jay. But because at first I thought, okay, this is a person walking up. Let's see where this goes. Because you clearly see someone walking in the background, and then they stop and they dart off screen, and you're like, someone fucked up.
See, as filmmakers, most times the first AD or the director will tell everybody to clear the set and for them to not walk on the set close to where the camera's being shot at. But someone apparently did not get the memo, probably a PA or something.
He was just strolling along, walking up, and then I love because you barely see. It's like just his shoulder, just his arms in frame, and it stops. Have a little panic moment, and then it just goes away. Like.
It was perfect. Get the
fuck off set.
All right, so what's your favorite kill?
Okay. Honestly, I think my favorite kill, because a lot of the kills, some of the kills were off screen. Like you see the aftermath, like the doctor, you don't see her get cleaved in half, but you see like the aftermath of it. All the effects are really good. So I think I have a tie. There's the first one, the guy that gets hit in the face with the hatchet. That is really good. Really, really good. And the second one is the Brad King one. Because at first you don't actually see the death. You just see his hand get chopped off, and you get this really cool animatronic moving hand, and then like you see the nub with the bone in the middle. I thought that was really cool. But the aftermath of the Brad King death is the coolest thing ever, because the mom comes in and she's finally like, oh my God, thank God you're here, Brad, and touches him, and he falls down and his head splits open and you see his brains and blood and everything. And it's so beautifully, gorefully, disgustingly done. It's amazing.
That one was definitely a thing. And I really do like the one with the therapist. I like that kill a lot.
Oh, where she's split in half.
Uh-huh.
That one was good because you could clearly tell she was dug in a hole underground, but it was still fun to just see her head and her arms kind of waving around with her body cleaved in half.
And it's just like, man, that was a good setup for Todd. And man, that was a good one. I think one of my other favorites was when Andrea and Greg were butt-ass naked on the pool, and
not even on the pool, they're on the diving board, which seems so uncomfortable.
They're on a diving board just making out butt-ass naked, like looks like they just got done doing missionary. And Terry just comes out and is like, stop.
Hey, you two, stop that.
Swoosh. And like, he fucking slashes the shit out of Greg, and he falls in the pool, and he falls in a way to where you can just see, like, no dicky, but just kind of like, you can see where, you can just see his body just enough to be like, poop, and then, like, fucking, Andrea's is like, gets fucking slashed, and then all you hear is like, you've been a bad boy, Greg. And then you hear like another chop. And I was like, oh no, Andrea's got fucking stabbed. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
The gore effects are really good in this movie. It's totally 80s, but I'm okay with that. I would much rather cheesy practical gore effects than like realistic CGI, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think another kill I like is between Artie's and the final kill with the mom just shooting the shit out of Terry. Like those are really, it felt satisfying.
I felt bad for Artie. Artie, out of the entire movie, Artie seemed like the only one that was like somewhat of a decent guy. Maybe Brad King was okay, I guess.
Yeah, Artie was decent, mostly because it's like he wasn't really focused on, like, he was just trying to like get to hang out with Karen, but I'm pretty sure he had the hots for Karen because he tried to come onto her, like try to calm her down. And I was like, bruh. So obviously there was like a little bit of tension with that between him and
Greg was trying to calm her down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Greg was not a good dude because he was like, he's putting the moves on Karen, and then he's like, okay, screw Karen. She's got a boyfriend anyway. I'm gonna go after Andrea. And so, yeah, really the only people that were decent people whereas kind of Artie, and I say kind of because he still had his iffy moments, and then the doctor and Brad King.
And you can say the Pete Buttigieg looking motherfucker too.
No, because he looked like Pete Buttigieg. That's a sin all on his own.
Damn. Is it because he's gay, or is it because he's just like not a good person?
He's not a good person, and he looks odd. I'm sorry. Pete, you look odd. Yeah. There's a total of 11 kills in this one, which is really cool. So you got the drive-through death. Mm-hmm. You got Mr. Brad King, the owner of the complex, manager of the complex, whatever. You got assistant dude who is smoking a joint with Terry. Mm-hmm. You got the doctor. You got old Petey boy. You got Julie, who was just trying to get her baby a rich daddy.
She was trying to get herself a bag. She did not deserve to die.
Then you had Greg and Andrea after that. Poor Artie. And then, of course, Terry and the mom afterwards.
God.
So 11 kills in this one. It tops Halloween.
But it feels like these kills were a little bit more... maybe a little bit more satisfying. No, I don't think they're as satisfying, but I think the Halloween kills were a little bit more. The Halloween say is a bit more of a setup. Like, it was a bit more like you were expecting it, but it was like it felt more grandiose, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
to me, like the Halloween kills were more, again, suspenseful, and I hate to say the word realistic because the whole sticking someone to the wall is not realistic, but it felt real. Where these were more like spectacle, like, hey guys, do you want to see some really gory, gore candy?
It was
Here you
very, very camp.
It's awesome. Loved it.
I feel like a movie like this is what, people think of when they think like slasher films, like B movies, slasher films, where they don't give a fuck about, any kind of plot or anything. They just want to see kills. Like, this is the kind of movie where I can see that being a process, like the thought in mind.
Yeah. I don't know why this movie's not more popular. Like, it deserves at least a little bit of recognition. This was fun.
I agree. And I personally am a big fan of the subversion of how men are usually treated like the horny ones, when all of the women are more of the first move, the initiators. And I feel like a part of me feels like that the movie was saying is like not punishing him for being like this, but it's also like it feels like there's a lot of like different things going on to where it's like it's almost punishing the women for basically like being horny
And
too. It's like women are horny too.
I do see that because it's like it kind of, because that's like the triggering effect for Terry in the beginning is like his mom's trying to get it on, and I think he even says something like, he wakes Todd up and he's like, mom's doing it again, and then they leave and go find two people having sex, and he kills the dude having sex with. So I feel like Terry's got this weird thing about women wanting sex, but he's mad at the man for giving in to that, if that makes sense. Because even the movie, like, Andrea's all over him, Karen's all over him, and he's just like, no, I'm not having sex with y'all.
And then like Karen had to basically push him to even get to make out. And I'm just like, there's gotta be something going on here. I'm like, if you don't want it, you don't want it. But at the same time, I'm like you can tell that Karen obviously loved, Terry. So I'm like, why are you, what's going on here? But at the same time, me being me, I'm like, okay, I get it. But I'm also like, why? It raises a lot of questions in your head. It's like, what were the choices that they made for this movie to cause many subversions, to have so many subversions to what is typically shown on slasher films? That's kind of where I'm getting at.
I don't think they were thinking much at all. Like, I feel like this movie, it's one of those weird examples where, like, if you think about it, like, if you think too much on it, you probably take away a lot more from this film than the creator ever even thought about when he... I feel like the creator of this movie just thought, hey, I want to make a campy, gore-fest slasher. And that is what he made. But lo and behold, you can take so many different themes, concept, and ideas from this film. Because between the mom and the two brothers, Terry and Todd, it is almost sort of like a Greek tragedy in like a weird way.
It kind of feels like that.
And, I mean, I get the Oedipus concept. I get that from it. I also get the whole, females are horny and the men's not. You get the whole Terry's, the reason he's killing is because women are horny and men are giving in to that temptation kind of thing. I don't know.
So you're saying that this is basically a morality play?
I'm saying that you can take things away from this film that the creator probably never even intended.
Probably. But I'm looking through the writing credits of Bruce Rubin. The person who basically wrote this film. And his only credits are Zapped, Blood Rage, Zapped Again, and this is going to come out of nowhere, a single episode of Recess.
That's cool.
It does not make a lick of sense.
But I like it. I like it, Recess deserves... I kind of want to know what episode he wrote so I can watch it and go, yeah, this reminds me of Blood Rage.
Oh, Speedy, we hardly knew ye. Oh my God. That was a wild episode. Not even gonna lie.
Oh, you remember that episode?
I actually do.
Dude, I don't remember anything about Recess except for that one movie that James Woods was in.
He was in Recess?
Yeah, there was like a School's Out movie or something like that.
I forgot
where they're
about
like
that
trying
movie.
to take out the moon so there is no summer.
I really like that movie. That was
That's such
really
a good
wild, That was
movie.
a wild movie.
Kids take on ninjas.
You know, before we go back to the plot, go back to this movie. I really want to say with Recess made me find out what Let the Sun Shine in. You know, let the sun shine in.
No.
It was it was the ending credits of the movie.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the ending credits of the movie. It was like, let the sun shine. Like, I remember that was the movie that made me like that song, because it was like, I forgot who the artist was. I think it was like the Fifth Element or some shit, or like some kind of like weird hippie band thing. But I remember that song being the ending theme of it, and I was like, oh, let the sun shine. And I'm like, what is this going on here? But like, I digress. So
I don't remember that. I just remember James Woods.
Basically, there was just a lot going on this, and I just think this movie is just, it's pure fun, and it's like you're gonna see a lot of titties, you're gonna see a lot of ass. Unfortunately,
Honestly, there's not a lot of
you know,
titties.
there's only like,
There's blurry titties in the beginning, and then you get Andrea.
like, it's not really much, but it's like you see a good bit of body. Well, mostly from only like a couple of people, but you see a good bit of body.
Yeah.
And you know, you get from like, you know, almost half the cast, like, you know, at least with Mark Soper and whoever played Greg and Andrea, like you're gonna see some body from them, a little bit of nudity from that.
Some booty.
So, but overall, it's just like, this movie is very fun, and I recommend it for parties.
Yeah. Definitely like Thanksgiving party. Not like while you're eating. I'd probably wait till after you're done eating.
Let's put it like this. If you're a weirdo like we are and are watching this for Thanksgiving, then if you're going to put in the Thanksgiving horror marathon, this is one of the movies you should play.
Yeah.
If not like the first one to set the tone.
Yeah, like stop watching the Macy's Day Parade and just put on Blood Rage.
You probably have a way more of a fun time. You may not get as many celebrities on music, but you're going to have a good fun time.
Yeah. So, yeah, your final thoughts, ratings?
So, my final thoughts is just like I said, this movie is kind of just wild, very campy. Like, it's very much so something that I will see in any kind of, you know, top 10 for slasher films, especially if they're going for like the B movie, like slasher, like very low budget kind of film. Sure, I don't even know what the budget was for this film. It's just, they just look like they had a really fun time doing it. They've gotten like a few people from, you know, who were starting to be stars at the time to make it. And granted, this was made in 1983, but it was released in 1987.
So it had a hard time getting to theaters or being published.
Yeah. So I was wondering, is like, what made it so hard to release?
And that's probably why not a lot of people talk about it. Like, if you think about it, if it was, let's say in the case of like Trick or Treat was supposed to be released in theaters, but never did. Got released on home video. It went straight to DVD. And it wasn't until afterwards that people started following that it got a cult following. Well, what if this movie got pretty much the same shaft, but like back in the 80s where, you know, you didn't get like movie news, or there was no internet to tell you, hey guys, go check out this new movie. It's just like this movie pops out of nowhere at your Blockbuster or something like that. So I can see why this movie's kind of hidden.
It's kind of sucks,
especially if it did get that raw deal.
I feel like it kind of sucks that it got hidden, because like there's a lot of movies that were released to blockbuster success that had a lot worse plots, had way more gore, way more nudity, and this one is a gore fest, but it's also like relatively like tame as compared to some of the movies that were like theatrically released.
Yeah, honestly, in my personal opinion, now this may be a hot take, the first Friday the 13th, I think had better kills and better gore effects because of Tom Savini, of course. But if it wasn't for Tom Savini, and I'm just going off the plot, and it had the same kind of effects that Blood Rage had, I think Blood Rage is better.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
But that's
So,
just Friday. That's
are
just the
you-
first one.
are
It's
you-
just the first one.
So are you saying
After Jason comes in, it kind of gets better. But like the first one, where Mrs. Voorhees is the killer, yeah, I think Blood Rage is
Okay.
better.
I was about to say
If you take Savini out, if Savini is out and you have the same kind of gore effects that this one did, yeah, Blood Rage is better.
but you can tell that there's a bigger budget on Friday the 13th. But I was about to say, I was like, sir, are you meaning to tell me that Terry deserves to have a spot as a horror icon, as a killer?
I've seen posters and stuff where like they count Mrs. Voorhees as a killer. If they're counting that bitch, then yes, Terry deserves a spot up there.
Oh my god. So another random thing is that if you look up posters of Blood Rage, there's a good couple of them where there's like posters of just a knife, and then you see some with posters of Terry in it. So it's kind of like, does that mean that the poster of Terry spoils the plot? That's maybe why they went with just the knife?
There's no
Or
way,
what?
because the movie spoils the twist at the very beginning. There is no twist. Like, Terry's the killer in the very first opening scene. So
yeah, I feel like the twist is non-existent. It's just it's kind of like Romeo and Juliet. The beginning
Yeah.
tells you everything,
Yeah.
and then you're just finding out how everything goes up to that point.
yeah, you're just along for the ride.
Yeah, I can totally see that. So I think, like I said, my final thoughts were just those. Recommended for parties.
Recommended for parties.
Mm-hmm.
I say the same thing. So yeah, what would you rate this?
I was rated a solid 3.5. Like, it was a good little titty for me.
Good little titty.
Good little bitty titty.
No, I concur. 3.5 for sure. Yeah, it's good. For the love of God, please go watch Blood Rage.
I think it's free on Tubi, right?
Yeah, for now at least. Yeah, free
Yes.
on Tubi. You have no excuse. Go watch this movie.
Especially if you like campy shit, this is perfect. It's pure camp. You may not be attached to any of the characters, well, except for Todd, my baby.
I love Todd.
I love Todd too.
But
But
I would protect Todd.
I want to protect him more after watching this. But yeah, it's free on Tubi, and I say go ahead and watch it. So.
Know what else is free? Watching us do our thing on YouTube.
Oh yeah, so please give us some comments. Like, let us know what you think. If you watch the movie, let us know what you think of the movie.
Let us know if our opinion's wrong.
If our opinions are wrong, then they're just gonna be wrong. But if you don't like watching us on YouTube, which is fine, we're also on podcast, so you can watch us on
Spotify.
Listen to us on Spotify,
yeah.
on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, of course, all of those good things.
Don't forget to like and share. Like the video, like anything that whether it's the podcast or on YouTube. Like, share, tell your friends about us. If you enjoy us, please get the word out there.
Yeah, follow us on all of our socials. We have a link tree that's going to be in the bio of our, of all of our socials and in the podcast and YouTube descriptions. So follow us on all of that, and we hope to see you again.
Yeah. I'm not going to say next week, but like the next episode we do, I think we're going to do our top 5 favorite movies.
Oh yeah, top 5 probably favorite movies all around, not just horror movies, but like movies all around of 2021.
Yeah, and after that would be Gremlins for a Christmas special.
Woohoo!
And then we're finally getting into our weekly episodes. The actual show is supposed to be presented to y'all is by weekly episodes, and we're finally going to get to that after Gremlins.
Yes, you finally get to know us, and now we're just going to have a fun time. We're going to watch all of these movies, and you're going to watch with us, and you're going to have the best time ever, and maybe get scared a little bit like I am. But either way, let's go. Let's just follow us and listen, okay?
Yeah, like for reals.
For real.
Well, with that being said, I've been Heath.
And I've been Jay.
And you've been listening to Host of Horrors.
That isn't cranberry sauce, Artie. That is not cranberry sauce.